Do you want to capture all your epic airsoft moments on camera but don't know how? Let me help. Alright, so first off, there's three types of cameras you're going to need. Number one is a helmet mounted GoPro. This here is going to show your FOV or field of view. Number two is on your gun. You're going to need a scope cam. This is going to show all of your great kills. And finally, you need a selfie cam. This is how you're going to show emotion and stuff like that in your shots. All right, let's break it down. All right, back to the helmet. So for a helmet, you're really going to want a GoPro. There's really three reasons why you want a GoPro. They are very easy to use. They have lots of accessories and they take amazing footage. The stabilization is great, and I would argue probably the best on the market. If you want to get another similar action cam like a DJI or the new Instagram 360 Go, they're good too. Just make sure you get a case. You need to put them in a scuba case. And if you don't have the case available, don't buy that camera. You can get the cheaper cameras like those $20, $30 ones you see on those Chinese websites, but you get what you pay for, and you won't love those cameras. So, you know, buy once. And there are so many GoPros. Like this here is a 7. This here is an 11. I've got a Session over here. Which one do you buy? You buy the most expensive one you can. If you've only got $100, find a good old GoPro 7 or 8. If you've got maybe $300 or so, get a GoPro 11 or 12. The higher the number, the better they are, especially for the stabilization. Now, the biggest issue you're going to have with your GoPro is charging. These things just eat batteries. So you've got a few options. Number one is you can have lots of spare batteries ready. I keep 6 ready because if you do 2 20-minute games, your battery is toast. So I change my battery out every 2 games, or I just use an external battery pack. I put this at the back of my helmet, cable it through, and then I get power all day. I don't need to check the batteries. I don't need to see if I've run out of battery. And best of all, it stops it from overheating, because GoPros love overheating. Just put it in the back of your helmet. Just open up your counterbalance, throw it in there, then run some USB-C over the top of your helmet, and then throw it straight into the GoPro. I drilled a little hole here in the dive case so I can put the USB-C in. Takes like 5 minutes. Now, let's talk settings a little bit. When you start filming, you basically need to make a choice. You have really 2 choices. Number one is, I'm going to film all in 4K. Or number 2 is, I'm going to film in 1080. That's it. Those are really your only 2 options, because you want all the footage from all your cameras in the same format. You want your scope cam in 4K, you want your GoPro in 4K, you want a selfie cam in 4K, or you want them all in 1080. If you have some in 4K and some in 1080, it's gonna look garbage. Just pick a format. If you've got a slightly older computer and you want slightly cheaper gear, go 1080. Still looks great. If you have a great editing laptop, if you've got a little bit of extra money, go 4K. It's up to you. It's really just based on money. When you're setting up the cameras, there's really just 2 settings that are fantastic for Airsoft. The first one is 4:3, which is your square aspect ratio. It's the same as your old televisions. And if you can do 4:3 in 2.7K, it's an amazing setting for Airsoft, because it's basically 2 1080 pictures like stacked on top of each other, which means if your camera is a little high or your camera is a little low, you can actually adjust it digitally in your editing program and get that perfect shot. And lots of times your camera will be angled a little down or angled a little up, and it can ruin it. But if you're shooting in 2.7K, you can adjust it down or adjust it up and have it looking perfect. 2.7K, you edit that into 1080. The other option is, if you've got a nice new GoPro, like this here is an 11, If you're running the 11, you've got this beautiful new aspect ratio you can use. It's the 8:7, and this will give you this really big square, and there'll be all this information in the top and all this information in the sides. And this is fantastic for making dual purpose content. You can shoot your YouTube videos in widescreen, and you can shoot all your reels in vertical, all from the one aspect ratio, which is just a godsend for editing. Put this in 5.3K and 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second if you can do it. And then you can just get all of your footage from this one format, and it's great. All right, let's talk a little bit about protection. There are 3 options you could do for protection. The first one is absolutely nothing, and that's terrible because it's going to get shot out. So if it gets shot out, the lens, you can buy a replacement lens for $10, and that's fine. The audio works well because the mics aren't covered, and you know, if it breaks once or twice a year, it's not that bad. That being said, your front screen is definitely going to get shot out, and it's hard to get replacements and covers for that. So if you can sacrifice your front screen, it's not bad. You don't really need a case. The second option is getting a dive case. Dive cases are BB proof. The only problem is they muffle the sound. So as you can see here, I've drilled some holes here and here and here and here. Those are where the mics are. Look in the instruction manual, find where the mics are, then drill holes in the case, and the sound actually works pretty well. You might see online there's screen protectors and stuff like that to be like scratch resistant and cut resistant. Doesn't stop BBs. If you put that on, it's still going to break. So it's dive case or lens replacements. Those are your 2 options. All right, let's talk mounting. You can mount 2 ways. You have the short mount and you have the long mount. I don't like the long mount because the GoPro gets in my way. It hangs just over my head, and when I go to aim down the sights, it's hard to look down a scope. So I prefer the short mount. Makes it much easier while aiming. Also, with the short mount, it puts the camera upright, while if you use the long one, your GoPro is going to be hanging upside down. So you're going to have to flip the footage, which is a bit of a pain. All right, number 2, let's talk selfie cams. This here is the selfie cam I use. This here is GoPro Session. I've got the GoPro Session 4 and 5. They're basically the same. The 5 has 4K, the 4 does not. Now, the best thing about using the selfie cam is it's really easy to use. It's really easy to mount. You don't need any special case because the back of the camera is facing, well, the enemy. So the only thing getting shot is the back of the camera. So yeah, you're fine. The screen's not getting shot. Don't need to worry about screen protectors or dive cases or anything like that. Just whatever case it comes in is fine. Use that, mount it to the Picatinny. Now, if you are right-handed, you're going to want it on the left-hand side of the gun so you get that nice shot. If you're left-handed, it's going to go on the right-hand side. Now, some people might want to use a full-size GoPro, but when you put a full-size GoPro on the side of the gun, it's really bulky, it gets in the way, it's hard to go around corners and stuff like that, and it doesn't look as cool. At least when you have the Session, it's not that big and bulky, and you don't really notice it that much. Now, there is an issue with this, like all GoPros, charging. The Session's only got like 40 minutes or so of battery life, so you really have 2 options. You can make a custom battery. So here is an Anker cylindrical battery, which I've glued onto some scope rings. I can mount this on the gun, and then the GoPro's got power. Does look a little janky, but it works. Alternatively, just charge your GoPro at the end of every game during the briefing. If you get into the habit of doing it, it's not that hard. Once you have the battery on the gun, it kind of just looks like a scope or something, so it's not that bad. But yeah, it's half the time I do this, half the time I just charge it in safety, so it's up to you. Okay, let's talk scope cam. This is a lot of the time the first camera that people get for their guns because it's cool confirming your kills. There's Scope Cam 1 and 2. They're both good. When in doubt, buy the newest one. And it comes in 3 versions, which is cool. There's an 18, a 25, and a 40. 18, you don't really need it. It's for CQB. It's not necessary. For the 25, that's good. Think of this for assault. You're shooting people around 25, 30 meters or so. And yeah, it's great. That's what I use. I've got the 25 on here. Now, if you're a sniper, you probably want to get the 40. It's going to give you basically double the magnification. So it's great for those long kills. Wouldn't really bother using it indoors. Indoors, you don't get enough light and it doesn't really work that well. But for outdoors, it's perfect. Also, this thing is purposely made for airsoft. So it's really cool. It's all metal, so it's not going to get shot up. The battery lasts the whole day. So I just charge it once during lunch and it's good to go. And it's got a shield. It's got a lens protector here so it doesn't get shot out. Like, literally just put this thing on and go. And you're good. It's great. So here we have the full setup. You've got the GoPro with the battery in the back. You've got the scope cam under the gun. You've got the selfie cam on the side. You may or may not have a battery. And then with these 3 things, you can film your airsoft content really well. Next step is how to edit it. And that's a little bit harder. Let's cover that in the next video. Bye.